Welcome back to NBA Cinema. So today we have to react to Antonio Daniels getting at Stephen A. Smith about those Zion Williamson comments. Now, Stephen A. Smith has had some things to say about Zion, and I think he saw some of the traction over the summer. Well, let me be fair to Stephen A. Smith before I finish that statement. He was saying things about Zion Williamson's weight, as many other people in the media were for a long time, But this is Zion's most consistent stretch of his career. I think they won 8 of their last 10 because they actually lost to Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat last night. But what I was about to say was, Stephen A was talking about Zion and Mariah Mills and different things this summer, and that got a lot of traction, especially, when he was still in the early stages of starting his channel and everything. And he saw that talking about Zion's weight and some of the things he's into is clicks. And rightfully so, right? You play the clicks game to get people interested. Otherwise, you'll just be making a video for yourself. So I get it, but Antonio Daniels is pointing out how quiet it has been since Zion has been playing well. It's always been about his weight, his availability, different things like that. And they also talked really bad about him when they lost in the NBA play-in tournament, how bad the Lakers beat them. And that was justifiable criticism because him and Brandon Ingram were already speaking about what they were going to do in Las Vegas, and it just showed that their head wasn't in the right place. But you got to give them credit. Right now they're playing really well, and people have been on Stephen A. Smith because his takes are just all entertainment for the most part, and there's really no sustenance in that you can get, and learn something about the game of basketball. So Antonio Daniels, former San Antonio Spur, current Pelicans broadcaster, he went in on Stephen A. Smith for a few minutes straight. I'm going to let y'all hear what he had to say, and I'll be back. Let's peep.
I got something I have to get on my chest. So can I get on my soapbox for a minute?
You can have 30 if you want.
Listen, man, I am all for objective, fair critiquing of individuals and collectively of teams. And I'll be the first one to say this. I felt what Stephen A. said this morning about Zion was completely inappropriate and lazy. There's a way, if you have an issue, there's a way to go about addressing that issue. And it's funny because I was on I do a weekly spot with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. And I went on with those guys a couple of days ago. And I told them it's amazing to me how you can tell how Zion's playing because it's really quiet. So when he goes on national television and he plays a subpar game or below average game, then that's when all the noise hits. You know that there are two teams right now, Cam, that have won 8 of their last 9 games? You know who those two teams are?
Dubs and Pels. Or maybe the Mavs. Is it Mavs and Pels or is it Dubs and Pels?
I believe it's Boston and the Pels. Have won 8 of their last 9 games. But then you wake up this morning and this right here is the topic. It's, to me, it's almost gotten to the point where it's personal. You know how people say certain things, Cam, and what they say and their actions don't match? I tell you one thing that's always bothered me. When someone precedes a comment by saying, I only want what's best for this young man, but then proceed to berate that young man and beat him down. How do those two things go together?
They don't.
Again, they don't. They don't. And if you've been watching the Pelicans as of late, you would understand that this team is playing well. This young man is playing well. He's been available. So if you have a beef, and this is the part that kind of gets me, why are these conversations completely geared around Z? There's so much young talent in this league, but for whatever reason, these kind of conversations only seem to center around this young man. And I don't grasp the concept. I don't get it. This is lazy to me. It's lazy. Tell me you don't watch Pels games by saying things like this. Because especially after a game like last night, if you watched the game last night, 27-9. Zion's been fantastic as of late. And it's almost like you don't want to see him succeed. The game before that, prior to the All-Star break, 36-8-6. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Burgers and all this other. The young man is doing his thing right now individually, and the team is doing their thing collectively. They're 12 games above 500, Cam. They're in the 5th spot in the Western Conference. But this is what the conversation centers around? Tell me what I'm missing here. Tell me what am I missing here? What do I not, why does this make sense? Why is it this easy for people to go on national television and tear down the young man like this?
So as you can see, some of the local Pelicans broadcasters is getting tired of the way Stephen A. Smith is coming at Zion Williamson. And we've seen it, right? We've seen him go back and forth with the official account. We saw the person that runs the New Orleans Pelicans Twitter Spaces try to get Stephen A. Smith on. After they said Kendrick Perkins obliged, he came on. And, they want to see where Stephen A. Smith's head's really at. Now, again, Stephen A. is an entertainer, man. I don't go to him, per se for wisdom about the game or how the game should be played. I mean, this is a guy who didn't think, Jalen Brunson was a steal for the money he got. And a lot of people didn't think that one. But, that was kind of obvious to me. But, he's the one that wanted to throw all of these future picks and everything away for Donovan Mitchell. So I don't necessarily listen to him about trying to build a team. He wants a star. He wants a name that shoots a lot of shots and scores a lot of points. And he thinks that's going to make the Knicks win basketball games. So I don't listen to his analysis, for, to come away thinking, differently about the game before I heard him speak. He's an entertainer, you know what I'm saying? He's an entertainer. He gets a few things right. He's a conversationalist. He's a person that, I enjoy his interviews and stuff with like Magic Johnson. He brought them on after they left the Lakers, his interview with Carmelo Anthony. Different journalistic things like that. He's a journalist, and he's worked hard to get where he's at. But when I listen to him talk about the players, I mean, Zion's weight is one thing. He could have left it at, only thing we're concerned about is his weight and his health. And now that's fine. You could say that anytime you want to for the long term, because it is, you could say the Pelicans is kind of behind schedule of what they've invested financially in, right? They shouldn't have missed the playoffs last year. And Zion, not playing in the play-in, he still has a lot to prove. And we'll see where he's at, in early April, see if he's out there helping his teammates. But we start talking about cheeseburgers and chefs and all that stuff, it becomes like a comical type of thing, where people feel like you playing with their money at that point, man, or future money that they can earn. You look at Zion's contract. Zion has all types of football-like stipulations in there, earning his money and different things like that. He has to play a certain amount of games, obviously. His body fat percentage and his weight cannot be greater than the sum of 295. And at some point, they could waive him if they elect to, right? So Zion is playing. And another thing I will look at, and I may give Stephen A. credit for, is mighty interesting that he's playing a lot more this year and hasn't had the same amount of ailments all of a sudden when they build your contract that way. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's convenient. I'll say that. But Antonio Daniels coming to the defense of Zion, man. We got to give Zion and the Pelicans credit right now. They're playing really hard, 8 of the last 10. I want to know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.